Can you talk real quick, just in like the last couple? I mean, I want to get your final thoughts in a second, but first, because you did mention the class dimension of it too, can you talk about the guys you met at Penn State and
Man,
that how that even like the whole other dimension of that to this as like because it to me when I hear that it also just it underlines the structure overall, but also like the potential of building out um maybe that really that coalition possibly to actually really make serious budget cuts, make serious changes and whatnot.
so so obviously my background is that I'm from New York, Brooklyn and Queens specifically. My parents are immigrants. They moved to New York in the 70s from Haiti. That's my background. It's New York, it's Haitian immigrant. That's who I am, right? I go to Penn State when I'm 18 years old, right after high school, and I move into a suite with 4 other people, 3 of which are guys from central Pennsylvania. I don't know anything about Pennsylvania before moving to Penn State. I just know Philadelphia, essentially. These guys from central PA, and they're not from like some type of quasi city. They're from a town. They're from a place where
From a town.
like literal dirt roads. Like there's actually dirt roads in the place that they live. Like I went to one of my homies' cribs. Like we drove down a dirt road to get to his pappy's house, like straight up. And meeting these homies. And this is and another thing that you got to realize when you're a black person in New York, you don't interface with poor white people ever.
Right.
Ever, 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 ever. The concept of the poorest white people are working class union job having white people.
Right.
That's the poorest who will make probably 6 figures by the time they reach top pay and OT and all of that. They will own a home. They will be upper crust. Sorry, like in America, like you are, you made it. You're an American who made it, and you are the poorest white person in New York. So I personally never met a white person who was doing worse than me until I moved to PA. Until I moved in with these kids who I think I brought like 6 pair of sneakers with me. And they were like, man, you got a lot of shoes. These are white boys telling me that. These are homies who their disdain for the police, you wouldn't imagine. Because in their town, they're not there's a couple of people who are well-to-do in their town, and they're not that. And they get treated like that. And as a matter of fact, the cops know their family, know their dad, where he works, know their mom, where she works, basically know their class situation. And they get treated like that. And they use terms like pigs. And they use terms like narcs to describe people who might call the police. And they use terms like snitch. And these are poor white people, And I'll tell you this, when you talk about coalition building, Mike, I remember coming home from, I think it was Thanksgiving break, and my mom, because she knows I'm not getting Haitian food and cooking and all of that stuff, sent me with a gang of shit. And we had a system at the house where, if there's food in the fridge, it's for everybody. That was our system. Me and these working class white background white homies. And I bought all this Haitian food. Like, I'm talking about, man, type of shit where I wouldn't even offer it to my Trinidadian homie. Cause it's like, bruh, I don't know if you're ready for this, my boy. Mike, when I tell you these homies dogged this food, they fucking bodied it. They went crazy. I brought home some pickles, which is like a Haitian garnish that you would put on fried food. It's whatever. I don't want to describe it, but whatever. And my mom was like, yeah, you bring that shit back over there so you can have some. Not only did these homies dog it, my one homie, he went home for a weekend because his house, New York City, was like 5.5 hours away. His house was like about an hour and a half. He took some to his house. And he was like, me and my dad fucked this shit up. Next time you go to New York, make sure you please bring some back for me and my dad, because my dad is crazy about this stuff. And I say all of that to say, like, these homies that I met in PA, in Penn State, in Pennsylvania, are the most down home people I ever met. They remind me the most of my immigrant family members, people who grew up in Haiti, which is famously called the poorest place in the Western Hemisphere. They remind me the most of those people than literally anybody I've ever met before. You know, and it was just a revelation of just like meeting poor white people was like, the concept of poor white people doesn't even enter your psyche in a place like New York, right? Because in LA, like the homelessness is such that there's a lot of poor homeless people and there's a lot of homeless white people. And so you get a sense that there are, but the only poor people in LA are homeless. Right?
There's no floor in LA. I mean, of course there's poor neighborhoods, but I know what you mean. It's like LA is terrifying in that sense. It's like, hey, you want to go to the yoga garden?
Right.
Oh, look, there's a homeless city there under the underpass.
Homeless city.
Yep.
Straight up.
Yep.
You know, and so it's very illuminating and by the way, that county, I looked it up, that those homies grew up at is Trump country. Right. But I'm just telling you, whatever we think about people who love our president, people who we might call deplorable or whatever, that's where those homies come from. And they are anything but the stereotypes we might place on them. And, you know, maybe I'm a pussy for being hopeful from that, but that's just the reality, bro. Like, I lived with these people. I lived with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was calling my mom to send me $50, they were doing the same shit. Like, their experience, their lives mirrored mine in so many ways. And, you know, I just think if the struggle is going to be made wholesale, that's the type of people we gotta change their minds, Mike.
Well, you're the best, man. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. And obviously, if you want to hear more of me and Woz, check out the Bomb feed on BOMM on iTunes. But please just follow. I mean, you can follow Woz on Twitter, and he's writing articles for The Athletic. He's hosting all sorts of great podcasts for The Athletic and Count the Dings. And of course, you can also hear him regularly on TMBS with me. Woz, thank you, man.
Yo, man, I appreciate you guys. Matt, my boy, I love you guys so much. I appreciate what you guys are doing on a day-to-day, like the work and the commitment that you guys put into what you do is amazing. You guys inspire me every single day. I didn't know I was going to come on here and have this experience, but like, that's kind of like day-to-day today. I mean, nowadays, honestly. And so I just appreciate you guys having me on, man. Like, it's so crazy what's happening outside and the work that you guys are doing on a day-to-day basis to help to, you know, like use whatever you got to try to make shit better. I know because I make content myself. A lot of times it feels like you're speaking into the void, you know, and you guys do this shit every
I'm just like are we ready to speak into the void again, Matt?
Like, are we actually doing anything? But I promise you guys, y'all are making a difference. And I love y'all. I appreciate y'all for that.
I love you, man. Thank you.
Catch your Woz.
Stay safe. Stay safe. Be well.